Afternoon, folks.
Hello.
You join us as we're talking about our plan. So every time we make a video, like we're making a video today, we have a plan. So we put in all the GPS locations against all the interesting points. And we decided, for reasons completely unknown, to do the plan backwards today. So we turned it upside down.
Get in the map,
Get in the map. Then we're thinking, do we film the whole video backwards? So we pretend we did it in the way we originally did it. And we start with the end and we say goodbye. I hope you've enjoyed the video.
So I think we've decided we're going to actually start at the end, properly start and say hi.
Welcome to a new video. You join us today on the Southampton and Salisbury Canal, which went between Southampton and Salisbury, surprisingly.
Shocker.
Shocker. It tells a really interesting story, and we've got 4 or 5 different mysteries to solve along the way. So whilst we are filming a canal video, it would be rude not to include a railway, and this railway here, so that direction there heads off to Salisbury, and this was the first line into Salisbury and into its Midford station on the east side of Salisbury. Salisbury branch line from Eastleigh. Hoping we catch a train, but we heard one just earlier, so being a Saturday we might have missed it. How's it going, Rebecca? We're filming.
I'm taking a photo of a really cute little flower. It's like the tiniest flower. It's so cute.
So the Southampton and Salisbury Canal was going to use the Andover and Redbridge Canal to connect its 2 arms. So you had an arm from Southampton to Redbridge, and then you had an arm from here, which is where our journey starts today, which is near Romsey, across to Salisbury. So 2 separate arms. Now there's hardly anything left to see of the Southampton end, so our journey today is largely covering this beautiful stretch here. Always wanted to explore this area here. There's sections of the canal you can see along this stretch now, right up to Alderbury. And as we said earlier, there's a few little mysteries that we're going to look at today. Is there a tunnel just through there? When we're pointing just through there? Because that's one big question when you look at an OS map. And there's definitely a tunnel, or there was definitely a tunnel at Alderbury. Can you see that tunnel today? There's a place called Tunnel Hill. We're pretty sure we know where the tunnel would have been, so that's another little treat for later on in the video. Right, this is really frustrating because for years I've looked at this bit on an OS map and thought it was worthy of an explore, because there's bits of the ditch where you can see the old canal, weird landscapes I've always wanted to explore. But straight away, everywhere around it, I mean look at this, everywhere around it is marked private, private, private. Every 4.5 yards there's a sign saying private land. It's so frustrating because right there, see that big tree? Right there, beyond that, is earthworks of the canal going all the way through there for about 100-120 yards, all up there, the old earthworks of the canal. That's so frustrating. So before we leave the most signposted private land stretch of 100 yards you've ever seen in your life, we're going to head via the road back up the top, across the top of the hill over there, to where there looks like there should have been a tunnel. And what I mean by that is, if I show you some OS map overlay of now and a while back, you'll see there looks like there's to be like a cutting which ends. So you kind of think, was that a tunnel? The contour of the land suggests it could well be a tunnel. If it wasn't, it was one heck of a significant embankment. So join us at the top of that hill where we're going to at least try to get sort of through that gap. Our mystery number 1 is going to remain a mystery, because we can't get in there. We thought there might be a way we could just go in, but there's heavily barbed wire. Still can't solve this mystery. Was there a tunnel? Have a look on the old map, because it clearly shows it looks like there should be a tunnel, and a curved one at that, which leads us to a bit of suspicion that maybe it was just a deep cutting that's been filled in. We should point out that that's a river, not the canal. Yeah. We thought that was just a bit of the canal that had been, like, you know, just left as it was, but we're actually stood now.
Now we're on the canal.
On the canal, according to that sign here, which ran next to the river. So this has obviously been significantly filled in. There's loads of embankments up there, embankment here. I still think the canal's over there, but what's all this? Old quarries maybe? Right, so we've been trying to work out why the canal isn't obviously defined. And yes, it was abandoned 200 years ago. Like here, there's a line. The canal goes through there. You can see that, clear, obvious. But here, it just stops flat. And all the way down there, there's bits where it just goes up and down, up and down. We're trying to work out why that is. But then we realise right next to us is the railway, and it goes through a big cutting. So presumably they just dug out everything from there, shoved it on this side, because there's so many bits down there which aren't obvious where the canal is. To prove the point, I'm going to try and walk through the canal. Rebecca's going to walk along the top towpath, which is very, very high. But I'm going to try and walk now in the actual flat bit of it. Right, there is Rebecca. Up there, goes a wave, Rebecca, thank you. Right, Rebecca, you're towing the barge. Rebecca's towing the barge. You are a horse, Rebecca, yes, sorry about that, but you know. Right, you need to be a bit ahead, of the boat, because the boat's pulling the horse at the moment. Right, we're good? Okay, let's go. No. Right, keep going. So, Rebecca's on the towpath. I am in the curvature of the canal here, which is about to turn to the right, and when it turns to the right we're going to go in a straight line towards the village of Dean. Once again we've got ahead of the horse. I wonder if that happened. I've come a cropper and you can see a problem just up ahead of me. So there was either a tunnel there, which obviously there wasn't, or all of that there is spoil from the railway just over the other side of that embankment there. And I think a heck of a lot of all of this landscape down here is random bits of spoil from the railway. So this is the canal bed right here, stops there. Okay, looking west towards Salisbury, Alderbury, and looking back towards Southampton. I'm going under. Yeah, thank you. Because looking at depressing graves of very young people. Right, so the canal is right next to this churchyard here. We've been able to see under the old bridge. You can see it through the gap here. This is probably one of the best views we've had of the canal today. Right alongside the church here, which is great. We're going to walk along the path that goes out the back of the church here in East Grimstead. And one of the things that you notice about this canal is it really weaves its way through this landscape. There was probably very little in the way of cuttings or any kind of embankment whatsoever for it.
That's a bit squeaky.
Yep. So there was very little in the way of embankments or cuttings or anything this end, because it really weaved its way through the contours. And then of course 50 years or 55, 60 years later the railway came and just went straight, obliterating a lot of it. But as it curved so much and the railway went through the middle, there's loads of little arcs, you can see loads of little curved bits, and we're walking alongside one of those right now. So we're in this nice open field, church in the background, and you can see just down there, all the way through there, or it looks like some kind of ancient pathway that we've seen before, actually is the canal, abandoned 199 years ago. I'm sure as we go along we'll see more. Here's a great example we just found. Might be able to climb down inside it. Right, should we head on that way a little bit? What you got?
I have service.
You have service? I have no service. Right, next stop, Rebecca.
I want want to say West Grinstead.
You want to say West Grinstead? I don't think we need to stop at West Grinstead because it's a bridge, just like the one here in East Grinstead. I think next stop is Alderbury.
Okay.
Now Alderbury we're going to park up and we're going to do a little bit of walking. Alderbury holds the key to a couple of mysteries we've been trying to solve online with a few people on Twitter who are a little bit more expert than us. So Alderbury had a tunnel. Now our first thought was it was on the east side of Alderbury because it comes into Alderbury, it takes a big curve, goes into a steep embankment. That's going to be the first place we stop to have a look. So this is the expanse of water down the bottom of the hill, and this is where I first thought the tunnel was when we started researching this video. From that way, this heads all the way along here and would have gone probably under a bridge, under the road, not a tunnel, which we first thought. There's a heck of a lot of water there. It's like it's dammed up. Now clearly that wouldn't have been the complete width of the canal. What an expanse of water that is there. However, on the west side of Alderbury, there is Tunnel Hill, a road called Tunnel Hill. So we're going to have a look there. That's an important part. No one really knows to this day. Everybody we've asked says, well, it was probably there, but there's no documents. This is as far as the canal got, so it's quite exciting in terms of where did it end? Where's the last thing we could probably find from it? We don't know, so we'll have a look in that direction in a moment. So you find us now on the west side of Alderbury, towards now what we think is almost the last section of this canal before it would have headed into Salisbury. Advertised as you can get your goods taken from here right the way to the west portal of Southampton Tunnel, and we're looking for Tunnel Hill. Well, we're not looking for Tunnel Hill.
No, we're on Tunnel Hill.
Tunnel. Found it. We're looking for the tunnel. It's called Tunnel Hill for a reason. So the assumption by everybody, us included, is the tunnel is here. So how much of a tunnel was it? Was it actually a tunnel in the first place? What made it different to all the other structures along here? We're not 100% sure, but we think we're getting quite close to it now.
Don't lift your head up, keep your head well down.
This is clearly the canal. Slightly off the beaten track at the moment, forgive me. And we can only assume that the canal went under the road there, and that's why it's called Tunnel Hill. No other reason we can see. It would have been a bridge, not a tunnel in my book, but hey, maybe they like the idea of it being a tunnel. A little bit underwhelming in terms of what we thought we might find here, but we're just going to check out a little bit further this way just in case. Okay, so this part of the canal, a river's cut across it, gone down there into the actual river. Yeah, nothing really hugely obvious. Despite the canal being built during Canal Mania, it probably lasted less than a decade. Perhaps if the tunnel under Southampton City had not been such a failure, see our prior video we made regarding its fate, then maybe this canal could have prospered. Perhaps if more canals had been built in the area, a renewed emphasis on its construction may have been forthcoming. But as it stands, we are left with what remains today, which is largely on this eastern arm between Romsey and Alderbury. And that is where you find us now, rounding things off, trying to find the last stretch to be built, just to the west of Alderbury. Right, so this is the corner of Chute Road, the two Chute roads, and this is as far, I think, as the canal came. There's a possibility it went across the road and just down the other side a little bit, but this is pretty much as far as it came. This bit looks like it's been filled in to a degree, but you can kind of still see the banks, can't you?
Yeah.
Bank on this side, bank on that side, through the trees up there, and that went back towards where we were with Tunnel Hill. I mean, they said by 1820 the Southampton arm was basically a rubbish dump.
Yeah.
So
Oh, so
That
you
makes
go,
sense.
like, what's it? Not mudlarking, but the other thing.
Well, yeah, kind of mudlarking.
Bottom hunting.
Bottom
all
hunting.
That sort of thing.
Right, so we're going to call this a day here. Thanks for watching. Thanks for joining us. 3 different mysteries along here. Different tunnels. Where was the tunnel? Where did it end? Well, we think it ends here because we can't see any more further on that way. This has been the abandoned Southampton to Salisbury Canal, abandoned by 1820. Join us next time for more of the same.